You ever sit alone in your room, the silence wrapping around you like a heavy fog, and just ask yourself, why did she really leave? You think back to all those moments when you stayed loyal, when you showed up, you poured yourself into her, piece by piece. You remember how you gave your time without hesitation, how you stayed up on nights you were dead tired just to make sure she was okay. You gave your heart raw and unfiltered, thinking that kind of love was unshakable. And now you're stuck, drowning in memories, trying to decode every little thing. Was it something you said? Something you didn't say? You replay the last conversation 1,000 times in your head, hoping it'll finally make sense. But deep down, there's a truth you've been trying to avoid. It wasn't about what you did. It was never about the gifts, the calls, the presents. It was about how she felt when she was around you. That's the part no one talks about. Could give her everything: consistency, protection, support, but if the spark faded, if the emotional charge dulled, that was it. Because women don't stay for logic, they stay for emotion. If she stops feeling alive around you, she'll start pulling away, even if she can't explain it. And that hurts. Because you thought love was about doing, about effort, but what? She needed was to feel seen, to feel excited, to feel wanted in a way words couldn't explain. You weren't wrong for loving her hard. You just didn't see that her heart wasn't moved by the things you did, was moved by the energy behind them. When that energy shifted, even slightly, she started fading. Not out of spite, but because she no longer felt the fire. You thought the answer was to try harder. So you did. You doubled down on your efforts, thinking love was something you earned with enough proof. You started showing her more affection, texting her more frequently, planning thoughtful little moments to show her she mattered. Every time she got quiet or distant, you leaned in more, thinking if you just showed how much you cared, she'd come back to you fully. Slowly, something shifted. She started acting colder, like your love was smothering rather than soothing. What you didn't see is that your energy began coming from a place of fear, not strength. You weren't giving from confidence, you were giving from anxiety. And even though your actions seemed loving on the surface, underneath, you were asking for something back: validation, reassurance, a sign that you were still enough. But women don't respond to that kind of energy with closeness. They pull away. They feel the weight, the need behind your every word, every plan, every message. What felt like love to you started to feel like pressure to her, not because she didn't care, but because your energy stopped feeling safe, felt unstable, anxious, like you were relying on her to feel okay with yourself. That's when she started testing, pulling back, seeing if you'd break or beg. Because she didn't want to feel like your emotional lifeline, she wanted to feel your strength. It's the kind that says, I'm solid with or without you. It's not about playing games. It's about standing firm in who you are. It's when you stop proving and start being, she can relax. That's when she feels drawn again. Not because you chased her down, but because she felt your energy shift back into the grounded presence she was originally attracted to. There's something most men completely miss. Not because they don't care, but because no one ever taught them emotional leadership. You thought if you just loved her enough, showed her through your words and actions that she mattered, that would be enough to keep her close. But have you noticed how the more unsure you became, the more distant she acted? That's not a coincidence. Women don't follow what you say. They follow how you feel inside. Your emotional state becomes her emotional environment. If you're steady, confident, grounded, she feels safe. If you're constantly shaken by her moods, reacting to every up and down, trying to fix everything the moment there's tension, she starts to lose trust. Not because she wants to dominate, but because she doesn't want to lead emotionally. That's not her role. Every time she gets upset, you scramble to make her feel better, change your tone, to rearrange your words. She can feel that you're trying to manage her feelings instead of holding space for them. And that starts to feel weak, not soft and secure. She wants to know that no matter how chaotic she gets, your energy doesn't get thrown off course. She wants to feel your calm presence in the storm, because that's what gives her permission to soften again. You don't need to control her. You need to control you. Stop reacting. Stop trying to fix it right away. Just be still. Listen. Let her know you feel her. That you're here, but not being shaken by her waves. That right there. That's what makes her trust you deeper. That's what keeps her coming back. It's not your words, not your effort, but your unshakable energy. Because when you lead emotionally, you don't have to chase. Love, it naturally flows back to you. You thought peace was the goal. You believed if you could just make everything perfect. No arguments, no tension, no uncertainty. She would stay and feel safe. And for a while, maybe it worked. Things were calm, smooth, predictable. But then one day, out of nowhere, she started pulling away. Cold texts, less affection, short answers. You couldn't understand it. You did everything right. So why did it feel like she was slowly slipping away? Here's the truth. No one tells you. Women don't want constant peace. They want emotional aliveness. And when things get too safe, too certain, too easy, that fire starts to die. Not because she wants drama, but because her feminine energy feeds off emotional energy. She needs to feel something. So what does she do? She tests, not to hurt you, but to see if you'll break. She picks little fights, pulls back emotionally, throws in an attitude shift just to shake things up. And if you respond with fear, with pleading, with frustration, she sees that she can rattle your core. And that right there makes her trust you less.
Oh.
But if you stay calm, unshaken, grounded in who you are, she feels it. She feels your strength, your certainty, your presence. That's when she feels drawn back in. Because deep down, she doesn't want to be the one in control of the emotional tone. She wants to feel the contrast between your stillness and her storm. That polarity creates attraction, keeps the tension alive in the right way. You don't need to argue or dominate. You just need to hold, be unmoved, be that solid force. She can test but never break, because when she knows she can't shake you, that's when she respects you. When she respects you, she stays. You thought being there all the time would show her how much you care. You thought constant presence, constant messages, constant reassurance would make her feel loved, wanted, secure. But what no one told you is that presence without mystery loses its power. When you're always available, always reachable, always pouring into her without pause, she never gets the space to miss you. And without that space, her feelings have no room to grow. She starts to take your presence for granted, not because she's ungrateful, but because there's no contrast, no pull, no curiosity. Attraction breathes in mystery, in silence, in absence. Not absence that comes from anger or mind games, but the kind that comes from knowing your worth. From being so grounded in who you are that you don't need to be constantly seen to feel valuable. When you start pulling back, not to punish her, but to return to your center, everything changes. That's when she starts wondering where your energy went. That's when she begins to feel the weight of your absence. To reread your texts, replay your voice, revisit your presence in her mind, because now your energy is not just around Dits, felt in the echo of its distance. That absence makes her remember the value of your presence. But if you're always there, constantly showing up, even when she's distant, you rob her of that opportunity. You become noise, familiar, predictable, easy to tune out. Real strength is in knowing when to lean in and when to lean back. When you give from overflow, not emptiness, she feels the difference. She feels your abundance. That's what makes her stay. Not because you chased, but because she felt something she couldn't explain. Something strong, something rare.
Oh.
She doesn't want to lose.